last 24 hours. Powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.
Good morning! Today is the 14th day of Kislev, Tuf Shim Pai Vuv, and it's Thursday, Parshas Vayishlach on Edge, Yidalet Kislev, December 4th, 2025. My name is Gershy Schwarcz, and I'm your host on Edge. Well, this is the weirdest translation of Kol Nidre that I have ever seen, or that has ever been written, provided to you by The Click. Joking, he didn't write it, but he's seen it on Truth Social and forwarded it to me, so I decided to read it here to you. Let me read it. Any and all documents, proclamations, executive orders, memorandums, or contracts signed by order of the now infamous and authorized autopen within the administration of Joseph R. Biden Jr. are hereby null, void, and of no further force or effect. I thank you for your attention to this matter. Your President, Donald J. Trump. It was just funny, so not mine. Like I said, The Click provided it to me from someone, I guess. Israel says now the ceasefire was breached. Finally, right? We waited for this day, I'm joking. 5 soldiers were wounded in Rafah, and Israel carried out retaliation strikes near Khan Yunis. 5 IDF soldiers were wounded when terrorists emerged, like I said yesterday, from a tunnel. Well, the report was very fresh, so I didn't have much information, and fired an RPG towards them, ambushed them at an armored vehicle, as we mentioned yesterday. The Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, said Israel will respond, and a short time later the IDF launched strikes in southern Gaza, with Palestinian outlets reporting 6 were killed in Khan Yunis. The body returned from Gaza, identified as of Thai national Sutisak Rintalak. Rangvili is the last deceased hostage in Gaza who has not been returned yet. His mother said he was the first to go and the last to return. Benjamin Netanyahu will probably visit Washington December 28th to 31st, just a day before Mamdani takes office. Literally. That's around about Ches Taivas and Pashas Vayechi. He says he will visit New York City even though Mamdani threatened to arrest him, which legally he can't do anyway, and for 2 reasons. A, because he's not yet mayor on that day, if he arrives that day, and B, because a mayor doesn't have the legal powers to... Mayor Eric Adams just signed 2 executive orders in New York City tied to Israel and protests near shuls. Now we will see if Zohar Mamdani keeps them or reverses them. Shmisen talks over the draft law, known to all Chakagias, continue in the Knesset. The religious service ministry, Misrad HaDatot, in Israel has launched a tougher inspection campaign for yeshivas that receive state funding. Early yesterday morning, inspectors arrived at the large Mir Yeshiva because of its thousands of Talmidim, and chose to check only Bachurim with whose family names begin with the Hebrew letters Dalet or Mem. All those Bachurim were told to come forward and identify themselves to prove that they really learn in the yeshiva building. The inspectors left impressed and reported that Mir Yeshiva passed the inspection with a 99% attendance rate. How beautiful is that? Mika Amri Yisrael. Online holiday shopping went up during Cyber Week, with American consumers spending from close to $44.2 billion online through Thanksgiving and Cyber Monday. I guess Giving Tuesday wasn't included because tzedakah is only given on a Tuesday in America. Chas v'shalom, not by Hasid. Anyway, the market rates also moved up today, this morning, in a positive, with the expectation that the Federal Reserve will also cut additional rates. Jerome Powell, Mr. Too Late, like Trump likes to call him, his term is set to expire in May, this coming May 2026, and Trump is keeping his replacement pick a secret, although some say that is Kevin Hassett. We'll see. Speaking of the S&P 500 and the stock market, people tell you usually, go invest in the S&P 500 and tech retirement funds, right? Etc. You'll need it when you marry your kids. Sure, we all hear that. And you're like, okay, but how? Like, what are my risks and what app do I download? I'm joking. Like, what if the market crashes? How does it affect me if I'm on government programs? What about taxes? It's too much, right? Too much information, and it puts you in a place where you don't do anything at the end of the day and you just sit and you don't invest. But it's a shame. It's a real shame. I was in that spot until I met Brightpath. They don't just take your money. They set you up. They visit you, they meet you for an hour or 2 meeting. I don't know how long exactly the meeting is. They guide you to invest your own savings in your own portfolio with a plan built for you. What's the catch? Well, me too. One affordable setup fee. That's it. Just an very affordable setup fee. And if you mention On Edge, the code On Edge, you will get a 10% discount. He's trusted by hundreds of Yingalat who are already all set for life thanks to Brightpath. Call or WhatsApp him on 929-675-9115. Again, the number is 929-675-9115. And if you use code On Edge, you get a 10% discount on the setup fee. BrightpathFinancials.com. Russian President Putin is in New Delhi, India, for a state visit. I reported it a few days ago that he's going to visit New Delhi, India, and summit with Prime Minister Modi, focused on strengthening defense, energy, and trade ties. He's going to buy a few. They're going to buy from each other jets and other stuff. The trip also tests India's balancing act between Russia and the U.S. as the Ukraine war drags on. Vladimir Putin says that the now 27-point peace plan, originally a 28-point peace plan, and I thought it was a 19-point peace plan, I'm confused already, had been divided into 4 packages for discussion. But that's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. Putin stressed that Russia would not sign any agreement unless its interests were respected, and said the fighting would stop only when Ukrainian troops withdrew from certain areas that he wants them to withdraw from. President Donald J. Trump said Wednesday that envoy Steve Witkoff and advisor, his son-in-law Jared Kushner, came away from their Kremlin meeting believing Putin would like to end the war. How many times have we heard him say that? There was no breakthrough yet, and said the next steps are still unclear. Like deja vu, isn't it? Macron is in China. Well, that's news, right? President Macron, those of you remember, the one who got a slap in his face? China's President Xi Jinping and France's President Emmanuel Macron promised closer cooperation today in Beijing on global crisis and trade during Macron's 3-day state visit in China. Macron told China he wants Beijing to use its influence on Russia to push for a ceasefire in Ukraine, and he warned that the world's usual rules and alliances are starting to weaken. Xi said he supports efforts to bring peace and pointed out that Gaza is another major crisis, mentioning that China gave $100 million in aid for Palestinians, or might I say, to Hamas. According to reports, Hamas stole most of the aid anyway. Back to America, shall we? Okay, top lawmakers are sitting down for a closed-door briefing today from Navy Admiral Frank, well known to all as Mitch Bradley, after the deadly U.S. strike and the disputed second strike on a drug smuggling boat near Venezuela on September 2nd. The controversy centers on the follow-up strike that killed 2 survivors that were floating in the ocean, raising questions about legality and who authorized what. Lawmakers want the full footage and records to determine if this was a lawful act. Democrats and Trump haters are outraged about this entire war. They're mocking the president, who is a peacemaker, and stirring up what they call a reckless war in Venezuela. Let's talk about what's reckless. If you have 15 apps, okay, not 15 apps, even 3 apps for your business, you're constantly busy with all those apps, you don't know where you are. We're talking about WhatsApp and many other apps and communication systems, emails and stuff. You want to have one system designed for one thing, that's it. Protobyte 347-354-1237. I mean, you're carrying a heavy load. Why would you bother? You understand what I'm trying to say? Okay, Protobyte 347-354-1237. I'm sorry, I don't know what happened there, but I guess the ad didn't come up, so I might have to change that. But the point is, you can call 347-354-1237, and they'll definitely not have this problem that I just had. The FBI has made an arrest in the long-running case involving pipe bombs planted outside the DNC and RNC. Well, both Democrats and Republicans, headquarters on January 5th, 2021, the night before the Capitol riot. The suspect is a man, but details and charges have not been made public yet. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar from Somalia has responded to the deportation talk and Trump's attacks by saying, "I'm not going anywhere," and she expects to be in office longer than Trump, she says. The comment comes after Donald J. Trump's December 2nd cabinet meeting remarks about Somalia immigrants, and Omar and her separate social media reply calling his focus on her creepy and saying she hopes he gets the help he desperately needs. President Donald J. Trump said Wednesday that he's issuing a full and unconditional pardon for Congressman Henry, I think it's pronounced Cuella, a Democrat from Texas, and his wife, wiping out their pending federal bribery and conspiracy case, which Coella has denied. If I didn't pronounce his name right, please let me know in the comments below. Trump called the case weaponized and claimed Coella was targeted after criticizing the Biden administration's border. Look, I'll be honest with you, if his name would be Glick or Stern or you know, whatever it is, like, it'd be easier. Weiss. Why does he have such a name? I'm joking. Basically, he was targeted after criticizing the Biden administration's border policies back in the days, making the move especially unusual because Coella is a sitting Democratic member of Congress, and Trump, I guess, pardoned him. Mike Lindell, for those of you who all know, the person everyone knows as the My Pillow guy, because he sells his own pillows and advertises himself with his mustache, you know, has filed paperwork to enter the Minnesota governor race against Tim Walz. He said, if there was someone to win, it would be me, the My Pillow guy. Also, according to reports, Bill Gates is also running, but make no mistake, he is not rich, and he's not, and it's not the Bill Gates you all know from Microsoft. He's a galach from somewhere, pastor. I know, for a moment I also thought, like, I saw his name and I thought, like, no, but no. On Edge News began just a half year ago in partnership with Yiddish24 in Yiddish, reaching the largest Yiddish-speaking audience in the world. After major success with nearly close to 60,000 daily viewers and listeners combined, we've now partnered with a click to bring you that same high-end kosher news now in English. Our mission? To deliver world-class news with kosher clean visuals and broadcast-level quality every single day. Just a few minutes daily, and you will know everything you need to know. Let's go to the desert, to the Midbar, shall we? In California, the desert. A U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds F-16C Fighting Falcon crashed near Trona, California, the south of Death Valley, during a training mission. The pilot ejected safely and was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Look at that. The crash is still under investigation. China launched its, if I pronounce it right, please don't be mad at me, I don't know, ZQ-3 rocket. Whatever, something 3 rocket to orbit on Wednesday from its land base. But the reusable booster landing attempt failed, with the company citing an abnormal combustion event during the controlled landing phase. I guess they weren't as successful as Elon Musk's SpaceX. David Wanunu is successful, though, when you let him be, in a way. Well, he's there to guide you. Reb David is a ish chesed, ish mamish, unbelievable. This person helped many people put them back on track where they're supposed to be. You know, their business has potential, they don't know it. Get in touch with Reb David, on 845-414-8100. That's 845-414-8100. Mention on Edge for a good discount. He's a great guy, great consultant. You want to get in touch with him. 3 police officers and a 61-year-old man are in hospital after a chain of shootings in Omaha, Nebraska, that ended with the suspect dead. Police say the suspect, a man in his 20s, first shot the 61-year-old multiple times at a local grocery store around midday, leaving him in critical condition. Officers then tracked his vehicle to a Quick Trip gas station near 32nd and L Streets, where he went into the restroom. When officers ordered him to come out, he opened fire and wounded 1 officer, then went back inside while a bystander managed to escape. Anyway, after a second order to exit, the suspect again shot at the police officer, wounding a second officer and injuring a third one with shrapnel, before officers returned fire and killed him. Police say the officers have serious but not life-threatening injuries, while the man from the grocery store remains in critical condition. For those of you who know, Mordy Berkowitz, a 24-year-old, the founder of Mordy's Challenge, was sentenced yesterday to 6 years in New Jersey State Prison. Now, obviously, I want to just point out something very important, and I'm going to be transparent about this. On this news on Edge, we do not report any Lashon Haras, any controversial news that against the Torah, against the laws. Halacha, it's carefully monitored by rabbinical advice and guidance, obviously, as I want you to know this. But this was publicized, and Mordy himself wanted people to know this because he wanted people to learn from this. And he actually made a campaign, as you can see. It's called the Mordy's Challenge. Well, he was sentenced yesterday in court to 6 years in New Jersey State Prison, and he's asking everyone to daven for him in connection with a fatal 2022 drunk driving crash in Lakewood. Supporters say his campaign has become a major accountability effort, generating nearly 50,000 pledges from people committing never to drink and drive again. Berkowitz's Tehillim name is Maltche Ben Sura Rina. Please daven for him. In a statement, Reb Moshe Margaretten from Tzedek said, Tzedek, the sentence said the sentence was extraordinarily harsh, and said that Berkowitz has spent the past 3 years on home confinement, and said that the victims' families, even the victims' families, asked for mercy, while prosecutors are being a little harsh, very harsh to him, and sought 10 years arrest to him. Anyway, the judge also found that he was a serious person, and the things that he did until now, the campaign that he made, is a really good thing, and also that therefore he gave him 6 years, but we daven that it shouldn't, he's a good person, didn't mean it obviously, and mistakes happen, and he wants people to learn from this. Before we continue, a quick word from our sponsors. Shawarma Delight is in 26 Spring Valley Marketplace. Delicious shawarma, not just shawarma. Today is Thursday night. If you're a Monsey and you want to stop by for a yapchik, lyle shishi, good food, stop into Shawarma Delight, have yourself a shawarma, mention on Edge, get a free drink. Arrive Express, 845-622-1111. Arrive Express, 845-622-1111, or 845-254-1111. YS Capital Group. If you want to borrow money, you want for investment, for whatever it is, call YS Capital Group on 718-831-2168. 718-831-2168. No closing costs. The answer is yes. Historical facts of the day provided you by The Click for Yidalet Kislev, Tufshin Pai Vuv. The Yortzeit of the day. Today is the Yortzeit of, we learned in the Pasha not long ago that Reuven ben Yaakov was born, right? Well, today is his Yortzeit. He passed away in 2317, Lebriya Suoilam, if you know what that means. And he's the firstborn of the Shvutim, right? Reuven is credited by Chazal for being the first one to open the Sha'arei Tshiva, the gates of Tshiva. Rebbe Menashe ben Yisruel of Amsterdam, who passed away 5418, Lebriya Suoilam. A diplomat and printer who established the first Hebrew printing press in Amsterdam. He famously met with Oliver Cromwell, to successfully negotiate the readmission of Jews to England. Yet tragically, he passed away 7 years before his vision was finally realized. They couldn't approve it right away because they said, although it's not illegal to allow the Jews to settle in England, but they didn't approve it up until, although they were very, very, they admired him. They admired this person. He was a great person. Even the non-Jews liked him then, and in those harsh times. Rav Menachem Nuchem Friedman of I think pronounced, I never heard of it, to be honest with you, of Stephanast, the Stephanast Rebbe, the son of the Rizhiner, Yutza today, and also Rabbi Yaakov Yitzchak Ungar of Zahavana. And also today is the Yortzeit of Reb Motche Tversky of Chernobyl, Reb Mottele, for those of you know. He was a great tzaddik of Chernobyl, the Chernobyl dynasty, the Chassidus, the son of Reb Menachem Nuchem. He was a Guan in both revealed and hidden, Nigle and Iste, known for his fiery avodah that drew thousands of followers, Chassidim. Not just Chassidim. And also today is the Yortzeit of Reb David Abu Chatzira, Reb David Abu Chatzira, known as Baba Do, the older brother of Baba Sali. He was renowned for his Kedusha, spending days entirely immersed in Torah and Tefillah while avoiding physical worldly pleasures. And also today is the Yortzeit of Reb Shol Rosenberg, the author of Chemdas Shol. He was a Torah giant and known to all for his deep, brilliant mind and deep humility. And with that, my friends, we will end today's segment. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you all, and stay informed and stay on edge.
Your daily report of the news of the last 24 hours, powered by Yiddish24, provided to you by The Click.